I'll take the session on mobile first. I hope you have gone through the basics, or at least you have heard of mobile first platform. This is IBM's one of the services, and you can use mobile first in your on premises, on the cloud, or in container based application as well. So I'll talk about that only. And yeah, so we'll start from the introduction part. So what exactly is mobile first platform? What is the architecture of that? So we'll discuss today on a few topics like about mobile first platform foundation component, what all are the components mobile first having, and mobile first platform foundation architecture, and the product features. These three topics we'll talk right now. And if I'll go in the earlier version of mobile first, okay, so we will discuss today onward IBM Mobile First Foundation version 8. Okay, it might be 8.0, 8.1, or 2 kind of things, right? 8 plus. And if we'll talk about the previous version of IBM Mobile First, then we have seen that IBM Mobile First 7.1, 7.0, and before that 6.3, and up just before 6.3 it was Worklight, IBM Worklight. Okay, not IBM Mobile First. They have renamed it and rebranded the IBM Worklight to IBM Mobile First after 6.3. Okay, before 6.3 it was IBM Worklight, and you can say that 6.2 it was IBM Worklight, and earlier version than 6.3 6.2 it was Worklight. Okay, so we'll talk about IBM Worklight, or you can say IBM Mobile First. Also you can call it IBM Mobile First Platform Foundation, or directly Mobile Foundation. IBM Mobile Foundation, that is also the name of that. Okay, so currently IBM using the name IBM Mobile Foundation. Okay, so all keywords are the same, either you call it Worklight, or IBM Mobile First Platform Foundation, or IBM Mobile First Foundation, or IBM Mobile Foundation. So everything is same. Okay, so what is IBM Mobile First Foundation? So what is IBM Mobile First Foundation? So what we'll do is, so we have seen that we are creating mobile application or web application for enterprise level, or for personal use, or for enterprise purpose. Mostly when we work for a company, we create application for organization need, right? So we need lots of services, whether it's push notification, offline storage, right? And the security of the application, the business logic, the services, security of all those things, right? Analytics, all the major parts that we include in our application, that is a tedious job. So when we use IBM Mobile First, we found all those things at one place with security. Apart from that, since IBM Mobile First is handled by directly from IBM, so we can trust as a company to the IBM, right? So, so basically, what is IBM Mobile First Foundation? We'll see that. If you can see this architecture, this image at the down, basically with IBM Mobile First Platform Foundation, you can integrate all the enterprise services that I have spoke about in secure manner with your application. Okay, and apart from that, also you can see it can be integrated with the application lifecycle, security management, and analytics capability. Everything you can get at one place. First of all, plus you can develop the entire application, you can connect with the server, you can run, and you can manage all the rich mobile application with the full capability of your target mobile devices. Okay, and also the best part is it supports all the major platforms, whether you make hybrid mobile application, native mobile application for iOS or Android or Windows. Since now Windows has been stopped, right? So Windows mobile you will not get. Microsoft already stopped that, but still you can create desktop application, you can create mobile web application as well. So all those things you can create, and you can integrate IBM Mobile First Foundation in that. Now if we'll talk about this, if you'll see this image, right? So here you can say that you have mobile devices, and so here you can see you have mobile devices or tab, whatever you have, right? So there are two things. One things, the application you will install from the app store, right? And another thing, from server, what you get the push notification services, push services mediator, right? These two things you will get from the internet. And here you are a developer, you will obviously use a IDE. The best part in IBM Mobile First 8 is you can use IDE as your wish. Suppose if you are getting a Android application, you can use suppose you are getting a native Android application. The traditional way to create native Android application is to use Android Studio, right? If you are creating a iOS native application, you have to use Xcode. Or you are getting a hybrid application, obviously you can go with any IDE, or else you can use Visual Studio Code. That is all fine, you can use that, right? So IDE, you can use any IDE as per your requirement, depends on your mobile application. Okay, but initially what was the scenario? If we'll talk about till 7.1, okay, till, if you have worked on the previous version, you have seen that you need Eclipse, right? And IBM Mobile First Foundation was coming as a Eclipse plugin, so you have to integrate Eclipse plugin, Mobile First Foundation plugin into the Eclipse, and then you have to create application, and it was a very tedious job. And apart from that, the IBM Mobile First server, right, here you can see that you have a management console that will be handled by the administrator. Okay, so currently as a developer only we will handle, and we'll see that how management console is working. So this management console was also part of the Eclipse plugin only, right? And if from application side or the console side, if any glitches comes or any small issue will come, then you have to restart entire Eclipse, right? You have to restart the application server, you have to restart the management console, everything. And it was a tedious job if you have worked on the previous version. If not, then it's okay, because we are talking about the version 8. In version 8, management console is a separate standalone application. You don't need to restart again and again unless you get a bigger issue. And application side, you are not no for you don't need to forcefully use only Eclipse or only any special IDE. You are free to choose whatever you are using for your traditional application. As I told, for Android you can use Android Studio, for iOS you can use Xcode, or you can use Visual Studio Code, Atom, anything, right? Whether you are using a Xamarin Studio, that is all okay, you can use. So it means you can use any IDE that is separate. You can use this management console is again a standalone application. You can restart, you can start management console. And this management console, since this is a separate part, it means you can take this, you can deploy this management console in cloud, you can deploy that in container based application, right? Suppose you can use any cloud, because Docker, Kubernetes can you can use in on the any cloud, right? You can use Google Cloud, you can use Okay, so yeah, so what I was saying is this management console, since this is a standalone application now after 8.0, you can deploy this management console to any cloud. You can use IBM Cloud, Google Cloud, Azure, AWS, anywhere, because you are using this mobile first operation console in in your premises and in the cloud. In the cloud you will create a container and you can deploy that container wherever you wish, right? And in general scenario, basically this management console will be handled by administrator, but as a developer you we will see that how we can handle all those things, right? And apart from that, if you see that you have two type of server, one is mobile gateway and application server. This will you can connect with any enterprise system, or you can say database, or any cloud services. A database can be on the cloud or in your premises as well, right? So this is the overview of IBM Mobile First Foundation. If anyone have any doubt, any question or anything, you can message. Once I'll see the message, I will try to answer that. Okay. So if we see that how we will integrate this IBM Mobile First. So as I told, you can use any IDE to create your application. It means you can create your mobile application or web application or desktop application, whether it's native or hybrid or whatever it is. In that, you can integrate IBM Mobile First as a library or as a package or something like that, and you can utilize all the Mobile First Platform Foundation library and the functionality or the services, everything in that. Okay. Apart from that, there are lots of things are there inside that we'll talk on the next slide or in the next things, right? Any question in between, any confusion you get, you can write in the chat. Okay. So next thing is we'll talk about the components. What all are the components uh, are there in the Mobile First Foundation? As you can see this in the previous page, in this page, you few things you can see that, right? ID, app store, push services, management console, right? All those things. So this is the overall view. But what all components we need to create an application using Mobile First Foundation, we'll see now. Okay. So we have around 5 to 6 components that we will use to create our mobile application using Mobile First Foundation. The first one is Mobile First Platform Command Line Interface, CLI. So obviously we will install Mobile First CLI, and using the CLI we will integrate, right? First we will create our application in the traditional way, that how we create. Then we will integrate IBM Mobile First Foundation library package, right? If you're using a uh, no Android native, you will integrate the package, and if you're using a iOS native application, then you will use a Cocoa pod for that, right? You will install the Mobile First pod for that. So in that way, once we'll integrate that, then we need Mobile First CLI to do lots of other things like deploying, creating, or we'll see that what we can do. So but all the operations we'll do using Mobile First CLI. So normally used to develop and manage application in addition to using Mobile First Operation Console. Some aspect of Mobile First development process must be done with the CLI. Okay, not all but some, because you are getting the application in traditional ways. Obviously you will use all the commands, all the process how you do to create a normal application, whether you are using a Apache Cordova application, or you are using a Ionic framework, or you are using a React Native, Android, iOS native, whatever it is. The way you do, obviously you will go by that way only. But few commands that you have to use from IBM Mobile First, that time you need Mobile First CLI. The next component is Mobile First Server. So it will provide you the secured backend connectivity, management, of applications, adapter, all those things. And push notification support. You can send push notifications from the mobile first server. You can target the device by device ID, the operating system platform, and lots of way. You can send push notification in different way. And analytics, so you can see the analytics log. You can see which device got the push notification, which not, or any kind of analytics. You can see the crash reporting, lots of things you can see. Whatever, in which manner you are integrating the analytics, you can see those things in mobile first server. Okay, you will monitor the entire application lifecycle in the mobile first server. And the third component is client side runtime component. Okay, so this will be embedded server function, okay, within the target environment of deployed application. So you will deploy the application on the, once you create the application, the process, you will see the process in detail in the later chapter. Okay, so basically what happened is, you will, the runtime component has been integrated or embedded with the mobile first server itself. Only thing is, you will create a application in traditional way, and then you will add the mobile first server in the mobile first library or package in that. Then you will deploy that application to the no, it's not deploying, it's registering. So you will register your application to the mobile first console, so that it can communicate with the mobile first server when you will see the, so that you can see the analytics of that application. You can send the push notification, or you can see all those things, right? So you have to register your application to the mobile first server. So once you will register the application, it will register or deploy in the runtime. So runtime, you will not, when I will show you, it will not something a standalone component or application kind of things. You can just see that application will be deployed in the runtime. I'll show you that later on, right? Another thing is, when you talk about mobile first server, once you will run the mobile first server, that the second point you have seen, second component, in that server there will be two things will be integrated. One is okay, so what I was talking about, the second component is mobile first server. Once we will run this server, it will integrate, it will contain lots of things. At least these three things it will contain. The first is client side runtime component. It will be integrated in the mobile first server itself. And the second important part is mobile first operational console. So this will also be integrated in the mobile first server only, right? So first time when we will see the operational console, we'll see that where you will manage, monitor, or you will register your application, the adapter. What is adapter? Don't worry, I'll talk about that. If you have worked on the previous version, you are already aware of what adapter is. If you have not worked on the previous version, that's okay. You can ignore as of now what adapter is. But the application or adapter or anything, or no, all those things you can, the security management, all those things you can do on the operational console. Okay, and another thing also will be embedded or integrated, this mobile first analytical console. This is also one console, mobile first analytics, right? So you can do lots of things in that. You can check the device about analytics, application analytics, uh, the server logs, all those things you can see on the analytics part, right? So these three things will be integrated into the mobile first server. The next component is application center, right? So since application center is a different services on the IBM mobile first or IBM cloud, you can say, this is not integrated with mobile first foundation. Okay, so you have to take the, if I don't know if I can show you this application center, but I will show you how it works in the figure. But in real time, I cannot show you, because you need a license to show this application center we can use. But yeah, I'll show you how it works and what you need, why you need this application center, what is the usage of that, and how you can use that I can show you later on. Okay. And another, the last one, you can see that the IBM Mobile First Foundation system platform. Okay, so this is another way to deploy the mobile first server, how you can do where. Okay, so these things, I'm not sure you need these things or not, but I will talk about that later on. Okay, how you can deploy the mobile first server on pure application system or on the soft layer anywhere. Okay, so these things, this is also one of the component. But when you will do all those things, you don't require okay, only in specific concept you can use the way how you create your application. Normally you don't need these things, but we'll talk that later on. Okay, so these are the components of IBM Mobile First Foundation. And I will again, I'll ask anyone have any question or anything, any, if you need any more detail on these things, you can anytime uh, message. So once I'll see the message, I will try to answer that. Okay, so now in these things, as you see that, we'll go again one by one and we'll see more detail on that, all the components. Okay, so the first component, as you have seen that the mobile first CLI, what all things you can do that. It will basically, once you install the mobile first CLI, right, you can register the application to the mobile first server, you can configure the application, you can create, build and deploy the adapter. So what adapter is? Adapter is nothing but a standalone application, you can say, that you can create in JavaScript or Java, right, or in SQL. So normally I'll talk about two things only, Java and JavaScript. Okay, you can create an adapter in Java or JavaScript. Basically this application will contain all your business logic, and this will not be part of your application side or in or all of your front end side. Normally what we do is, when you create application, suppose I'll talk about a hybrid application, whether it's Ionic or Apache Cordova. I'll talk about Apache Cordova. So when you create a hybrid application, what we do, we write all the business logic in the JavaScript part, right? So, but when you are integrating the IBM Mobile First Foundation, you don't need to write the business logic code in the application side or in the front end side. You do those things in the adapter side. Since adapter is again a standalone application that you deploy in the mobile first server. So what happen is, from the application side, whenever you need to create, you need to hit a web services, you will hit the, you will call the adapter first, right? So that time it will check that you are connected with the mobile first server or not. If you are connected, then they will check the security. If you have used any security check, they will check the security check, and then they will connect with the adapter. So all the business logic you will implement there, and that adapter will call the any database or third party database or cloud database or any database or any services wherever you need, right? They will call there and they will fetch the data in the adapter part, and then those data, if you want to, there are two things you can do. If you want to filter the data or if you want to send entire data, then the adapter will send the data to the client side. So this is how communication will work. Okay, so this is the adapter, and also you can preview and update the Cordova application. Okay, so this preview and updating Cordova application, so since if you use the, now if you use React native application or native iOS application, native Android application, then this preview and updating app will not work. This will work only with the Cordova application. Okay, hopefully you can work with Ionic framework as well if you are using Cordova or Capacitor, anything, because in those things normally you are using a web resources, right? Web resources in the web technology, in the sense HTML, CSS, JavaScript kind of things you normally use, right? That is web technology that you are using. So those things you can update directly from the mobile first server. That is called direct update. We'll talk about what is direct update and how you can do. Normally what happen is you have created an application, right, and already that application is deployed on the Google Play Store or App Store. Suppose a button is red, now you have to make that button blue, right? Thing is very simple. You will change the color and the process will be very long, right? You have to take the build, you have to generate the APK again, and you have to generate the signed APK, then you have to deploy on the Google Play Store. It will take 3 to 4 hours at least, and then it will go live. Again, it will take lots of time on the Apple App Store, right? But if you are using a Cordova application and you have to update only few things, only in JavaScript and HTML part, then you can do, and you can do the direct update. So what direct update will do? Direct update will hit the mobile first server. Whenever a user will hit the server next time, they will get a notification that you have a direct update, and that time they will click a button and their application will be updated. All the resources, all the changes you have done. You don't need to deploy application on the Google Play Store or App Store, right? It's very easy task it will be. So that direct update is part of only hybrid application. In hybrid application, only with Cordova kind of things, Apache Cordova kind of things application, not in React Native or Flutter or something like that. Okay, and apart from that, you can use MFP dev command. So this is the command. Basically, once you use mobile first CLI, then you need to use command MFP dev, right? MFP dev help. It will give you the all the supported commands in the with the description. You can see that. Okay, MFP dev command on their own or in parallel with the mobile first operating console. Okay, you can also use the command in script for automatic testing, build and deploy flows. So obviously you will use MFP dev command to do all those things, right? So this is the mobile first CLI. You can do lots of things with that. The next component that we have seen is mobile first server. Okay, so basically mobile first server, as already I have talked more in the last slide. So I'll just summarize it again. So this will be the mobile optimized middleware that serve as a gateway between application and backend system and the cloud-based services. Okay, so as I told you, few things you can do. The last one you have seen, that direct update, and then analytics, push notification, adapter will again deploy to the mobile first server, and JSON translation means if you have application multi-language, those things also it will support it in that way. Or JSON translation is again this means is something offline storage. Okay, offline storage, if you want to do anything store offline, then there is a called JSON store in the mobile first. That is a feature, JSON store, and that you can store any data offline in secure manner. Okay, different kind of security level. Okay, so this also will act as a container of mobile first platform foundation package, the mobile first server, as you can see in the figure. Okay, so these are the things of mobile first server. Already I have spoken more in the last slide. Next part is runtime. Okay, client side runtime component. So obviously as you can see that in the this figure, right? So the mobile first client side runtime will be integrated or embedded in the server actually. Okay, so that you can deploy your application and it will register there, right? And it will create a runtime so that your application will integrate all the mobile first services. So a collection of libraries that are integrated into the locally stored app code. Use them to add mobile first feature to your client application. The API and library can be installed with the IBM Mobile First Platform Foundation Developer Kit, or you can download them from repository of your development platform. Okay, so runtime component will, as I told you, it will help you to integrate all the mobile first services. Okay, and the next thing is operational console. So this is the image you can see. This is how it will look like when we'll open the mobile first server. And here again you can see this analytical console. You can see this icon, right? This one is analytical console. If you click on that, it will open another web page with analytical console. We'll see that in the next slide. Okay, here you can see that you have application, you have adapter, all the settings, right? So this is how you can do that. And this MFP is runtime, right? This MFP is runtime. So runtime is part of operational console as well, and your app code as well, right? Inside app code, it will install the runtime automatically when you will add mobile first package or library, so that you can communicate with the server. In the server, they will check the runtime and they will install the application, adapter, or whatever it is. Okay, so here we'll see what we will do with mobile first operational console. Okay, from the console you can download code, example, tools, SDK, etc. Because see, if you have already deployed the adapter, you can download those adapter from the operational console as well. So lots of things you can do, or sample application you can download it from here. So lots of things you can do from here. And yeah, so you can use mobile first operational console from the following tasks: monitor and configure all the deployed application, adapter, and push notification roles from centralized web-based console. Remotely disable the ability to connect mobile first server by using pre-configured rules of app version and device type. So this line is something advanced kind of things. You will, okay, so you will understand once I will show you how you can do that. This is kind of things, if application is up and running and you want to disable that application based on the device or based on the app version. Okay, suppose your application is version 5. Now you already launched the version 8, right? And you don't want to continue with version 5 now, but still few users will have version 5. Okay, so how you will ask those users forcefully that please update your application with version 8, because we are not supporting version 5 as of now, so that you can disable those applications of till version 5. Okay, so user will get a notification and they have to update that application with the latest version. So those kind of things also you can. And apart from that, if any user's device has been stolen or lost or damaged or anything in bad situations, if you get a notification for that, if the user will notify you, you can disable that device, because that device has been lost. So you can disable that application so that anyone cannot use that application from that device. That you can disable from the mobile first operational console. Okay, apart from that, customize messages that are sent to the user on application launch. So any kind of notification you can send from this operational console. Okay, and collect user statistics from all the running application, generate built-in pre-configured reports that user adoption and usage number and frequency of user that are engaging that will serve. Okay, so it means you can see that how many times user are using a particular services in your application, right? Suppose if you have a button, how many times that button has been clicked or a particular service has been used by the users. That kind of analytical reports you can get, and you can analyze those things in operational console. Okay, configure data collection rules for obviously those things only. You can collect all kind of data, means this kind of data that I told you, like the usage of any particular service or any kind of application specific event data you can collect and you can review or analyze in the operation console. The next thing is the next component that we spoke about, the application center. If I will give more detail on application center, is application center is nothing but a private app store. Okay, private app store. Because when you see Google Play Store or Apple App Store, that those are public app store, but application center is a private enterprise application store. Okay, so application center is used as an enterprise application store. It will provide a repository for storing the application and a client that allow users to download application to the device. Okay, and for private use within a company, you can target mobile application to a specific group of users, facilitate collaboration between all the people who are involved in the development of an application. User can leave feedback for an application. Supports applications that are built for the Google Android platform, Apple iOS platform, and Windows. And okay, so it means suppose you have a group of people who can see the application on different level, right? Might be a higher management where your CEO, your or your CTO or any the manager, all kind of things. You have a higher management who can look into the application. They can review the application. They can see the application. So for that, they have to install the application in their device, right? So you can give access to those level. Now you have a different kind of user, that is tester. You can give access to the tester. Tester can also download the application from there and they can test, they can give the feedback, they can give the review, right? And as a developer also, you have a different kind of access level. You can just manage all the access level based on the based on the group wide access you can give, and people can download application and people can, okay. And also the services, which user will use which services, lots of things you can use in that. So in real time feedback you can get, okay. And this will work within your premises. It means the company server only, in the company only you can work with the company server only. Outside it won't work. This is the application center, okay. Next, already I told about mobile first analytical console. Okay, so you can do lots of things. You can enable the searching across application, services, devices, and other source of collected data about the user, and you can detect the problem. You can collect the crash reporting as well. Okay, when your application is getting crashed, and the analytics and the details of those mobile devices or anything else that comes with the crash reporting, you can analyze those things as well. Okay, so in addition to reports that summarize app activity, IBM Mobile First Platform Foundation includes a scalable operational analytics platform and accessible in the mobile first operation console. So basically, from the operational console you can switch to analytical console. Few parts you can look into the operational console, the devices and other things, and lots of things again you can watch in review or analyze you in the mobile first analytical console. Okay, and you can enable analytics reports or both depending on your need. And the analytics features enable enterprises to search across logs, events that collected from the device, applications, and servers for patterns or problems or platform usage, even the crash report as well. Okay, so all those things is image, right? You have application code and you have a client side runtime where you can do lots of things. You can implement all the cross platform compatibility. You can integrate the services, You can integrate the JSON store. You can implement code for crash reporting, where and how you want crash reporting, and or any event capture for analytics purpose. All those things you can do in client side runtime. Okay, and these things runtime will be part of mobile first server. In the mobile first server you can uh, see all the runtimes basically. Okay, so normally you will see the application in that. Okay, not everything in the runtime, you will see the application in your runtime. Okay, and this will connected basically vice versa. Okay, this will connected runtime with mobile first server, and you can see everything for all these service that will be in the mobile first server itself. The authentication or security, JSON translation, adapter, push notification, analytics, and direct update. And again, mobile first operation console, that you do lots of things, right? So these things also will be integrated to the mobile first server itself, where you can see the analytics. For analytics and application management, these things will again part of analytical console. Okay, this will be integrated with the mobile first server, and you can switch between operational console and the analytical console, where you will manage the deployment and configuration of the application and the push notification as well. Okay, and this mobile first server again you can connect with the deployment. When you will deploy application, you can deploy to the mobile first server, and also you will know two things will do this. When you develop a application, you will deploy to the application center and the public app store. Okay, and also you have to deploy those applications to the mobile first server. So why something like this? Because if first of all you will develop an application and you will deploy to the application center and public app store, so that your user will download the application, they can use the application, but those applications will connect to the database or web services or the mobile first server, so that you have to register those applications to the mobile first as well, mobile first server as well. So that's why this arrow you can see, and this mobile first server will be connected to the cloud services or other enterprise system or database or any other cloud services as well, right? Suppose if you want to, someone is using SQL database, someone want to use NoSQL database, someone want to use Couchbase database, anything, right? So it will be connected. And mobile first operational console or analytical console will be also part of mobile first server as well. And runtime is again connected in both way from the mobile first server itself, right? Because runtime code will also be implemented in the development of application itself, so that it can communicate with the mobile first server, right? So this is the overall architecture, how it will look like in mobile first foundation. Okay, any question you can write in chat. Okay, so licensing things, because mobile first platform is free to development, till development you can develop the application, but this is not free for deployment. Okay, so if you deploy this application using mobile first foundation, then you will notice that from Google Play Store it will they will reject your application basically. Okay, and yeah, so here is the link. By the way, you can get the link. I will share you link later. I don't think so this link is working now, or it's working. Let me see. Licensing, here is the licensing link. You can go to the licensing. So you have two type of licensing basically. Okay, one is basically you can use these licensing features what you purchase and verify your usage and compliance through the license tracking page in mobile first operation console. And another is token license. Basically you can configure your mobile first server to communication with the remote token license server. Okay, so these two different licensing method are there. Okay, so we'll talk about the capability of mobile first foundation. What are the main capabilities are there, what it will do basically. So first is the deployment. Okay, as you can see in the architecture, so first we'll talk about the deployment. Okay, so deployment, as I already told, build mobile apps by using your preferred front-end framework and tools such as Xcode, Android Studio, Visual Studio, or Mobile First Studio, or Visual Studio Code, or any ID. And apart from that, IBM has already added one more things, that is App Builder. IBM App Builder. So that is very recent things they have added recently in couple of months, I think. Okay, so we'll see that how we can do that also, because in our curriculum that is not added, but I will talk about that and I'll show you how you can work with IBM digital app builder. So what it is, when you are getting a Apache Cordova application or Ionic application or a React Native application, getting started is not easy. You have to write lots of code to do something. But what if you can do in the drag drop? It's very easy, right? Means it's not low code, no code, it's less code. Lots of things you can do on the drag and drop. Suppose if you have it, you have to create a you have to create a button, or you have to navigate from one page to another page. Same thing if you'll do in the React Native, it's not so easy, right? Means you have to write few lines of code. If you are aware of all those things, obviously it will be easy for you, but if you are a beginner, then it's quite difficult, and at least you have to write some lines of code. What if you can do all those things with drag and drop? It's easy, right? So you can, and once you will create an application with drag and drop, you can integrate all the mobile first services with drag and drop itself. Not only the application component, you can integrate mobile first services as well with drag and drop itself. So once you develop that application, at least the boilerplate application if you develop, you can export those code and you can open in your IDE of your choice. So those things you can get from IBM App Builder. I'll talk later on that, how you can do that, because last time when I was using that IBM App Builder, it was very slow, and it took me 2 hours to create an application, so that I left. But I will show you how you can do that. We'll see, might be today it can, or this time it will take less time. Okay, so we'll see that how you can create application with drag drop as well for React Native or Ionic framework or Apache Cordova or anything. Okay, so fine. So the deployment, so development part, you are already aware of how you will create an application. Okay, so continuously deploy the multiple devices while quickly creating mobile app and omni-channel application. Develop in native Cordova, Xamarin, or integrating any front-end framework, anything you can use. You can develop application by just using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You can optionally write native code. So IBM Mobile First Foundation provides the SDK for accessing all the library from native code. You can do all those things. Okay, so this is part of development. We'll see that how we'll develop the application. You are already aware of how to develop application. We'll see more detail later. So the backend integration. So backend integration. So here the adapter things will come into the picture. IBM Mobile First Platform Foundation can act as middleware solution to integrate a mobile application with enterprise services and make communication. Okay, so IBM Mobile First Platform Foundation can act as the middleware solution to integrate a mobile application with enterprise services and make communication with backend service easier. Deploy app business logic as REST API endpoint and document in Swagger to promote collaboration to the simplify testing. Code adapter in Java or JavaScript and run in scalable enterprise-grade cluster. Manage API through IBM API Connect to create maximum reuse across the channel. So lots of things you can do. First of all, once you will up and run the mobile first server, you will create an adapter. You can create multiple adapter. In one adapter, you can create multiple services. In you can create multiple adapter as well. Adapter you can create in Java or JavaScript. You can deploy the adapter with command line or directly drag and drop. Anything you can do from mobile first operation console. Also, you can just drag and drop the adapter. It will be installed, right? And you can do with REST API as well. And another part is you can use the another separate IBM cloud services that is called IBM API Connect. That obviously you need license for that as well. You have to purchase that, and you can use that also to manage all the API or adapters. Okay, so that you can easily reuse across all the channels, all the applications, similar application in that case. Okay, so those things also you can do. And apart from that, since you are getting an adapter, and adapter is nothing but it will make the REST API call to the HTTP web services call. It will be it will make a backend call, right? So those REST API endpoint you can see in the Swagger. So Swagger documentation will be inbuilt actually. Okay, so it will be inbuilt. You can look into that. Once you will go for the production or production build, then this Swagger will be disabled automatically. You cannot see that things, okay, for the production build. But for UAT or for development or UAT, okay, all those things are on. Okay, so application is this kind of screen you will get. Okay, so mobile first foundation includes a unified push notification framework that provide a consistent mechanism to deliver messages to multiple platforms with a single API. So there are two ways to send the push notification. First of all, you have to do some setups, push setups. For Apple, you need to use the production or sandbox file in .p12. The certificate, you can say, those certificate you will browse and you will add here, and the password you will add here. You can generate the push notification certificate from APNS and you can add those. The first thing. Another thing is you can see at the down is GCM push credential here. So now it's FCM, right? Firebase Cloud Messaging. Now it's not Google Cloud Messaging, it's Firebase Cloud Messaging. So FCM credential you can add here. We'll see that how you can create a Firebase. You can get the Firebase credential and you can add here for Firebase messaging, right? Once you'll do that, then you can send notification. Here you can see that notification tab is there. You can click on send notification and you can send notification based on different criteria. You can send to all device. That will called broadcast, right? You are broadcasting application, broadcasting the message. So it will, regardless of the device and the platform or whatever it is, it will go received by all the all the application, all the device, whoever installed and registered for notification. Apart from, you can create a tag. So the usage of tag, if I will talk about, suppose if you are using a mobile banking application, then obviously you can get two kind of notification. One is promotional notification and one is transactional notification, right? In that way, if you want to send two kind of notification, promotional and transactional, depend on your use case. It can be multiple tags, multiple type of notification. So I'll talk only two, transactional and promotional. Suppose any user want to receive both notification, they can enable both notification. They will get both notification. Whenever you will send any notification here, send notification, you can choose you are sending a notification only for those people who has been subscribed for transactional notification only. So they will get that. If any user has subscribed for only promotional notification, they will get promotional notification only. Or okay, vice versa, you can implement based on your use case. You will see that. Okay. This is the overview of push notification. And offline mode, already I have spoken lots of things in that. So lastly, that we'll only talk about the JSON store that we can use, right? Mobile first platform foundation use a client server architecture that can detect whether a device has network connectivity and the quality of connection. So the first thing, obviously, it will do that. If I will talk about the usage of offline storage, why I will do any offline storage? Suppose if you are working on a mobile banking application. Okay. If you are working on a mobile banking application, then obviously you will not wish to keep anything offline. It will not secure whether offline JSON storage is secured, but it's okay. Still, in a mobile banking application, you don't want to store anything in any way offline. But there is some use case where you can store something for a particular time. Suppose you are creating a account. There is a form in your application to create an account, and that is 5-page application, right? User already filled 2 pages, and user's internet connectivity gone, right? It means they cannot fill the next page, because if they will click the next, then it won't navigate to the next page. So what will happen if internet will come? Suppose if after 10 minutes or 15 minutes internet will come, till that time the session they will lose the session. They have to log in the application again. Okay, once they will log in the application, then they have to fill those 2 page again, right? As a user, if you see that, it's so irritating. Already I have filled 2 page. Why again I need to fill this 2 page? What you will do in that case? Whatever they have filled, you can store those things in offline for time being. Once internet will come, there can be two scenarios. One, user want to continue that application, or another scenario, it can be user don't want to continue from that application. If user is continue with that application, then it's okay. For time being, those already stored in the local storage, and once they will open that application, they can fill after the page 3. That is all okay. But if user is not not continue with the application that time, so what you will do, you will send those data, whatever they have filled and they left, those data you will send to the server once internet will come in your server, and you will keep in your database, and you will remove from the local database. Got it? And suppose after 1 week or a particular time, you can notify to the user, hey user, you have started filling this application, do you want to continue? Yes, then just you can send the notification. If they will send the yes, they will click on yes, then can open the application, and they can again continue filling that application from page 3rd. right? Because you know that they have already filled 2 page. So there can be multiple scenario. I just told you a basic scenario. Sorry. Okay. So an offline enabled mobile application can be used when a mobile device lack connectivity, but some function can be limited. When you create, or another thing also you can do that, suppose if people are filling the application, you can navigate to the next page, next page, next page until they come to the submit. In if they don't have the internet connectivity as well, so they can fill all the application, but since internet connectivity is not available, they cannot submit. For time being, you can save all the data. Once connectivity will come, you can send those data to the server. So all those things available in the JSON store. Okay, so when you create an offline enabled mobile application, you can store information to help preserve its function in offline mode. Consider data synchronization in backend as part of application architecture. IBM Mobile First Platform Foundation include a feature that is called JSON Store for data exchange and storage. You can create, read, update, delete data records from a data source. Each operation is queued when operating offline. When a connection is available, the operation is transferred to the server, and each operation is then run against the source data. And in mobile first, basically the data that is not yet synchronized with your server, right, those kind of data will called a dirty document. Dirty document means till now that those data is not synchronized with the server. So till so once internet connectivity will come, they will check for the dirty documents. Once they will find the dirty document, then those dirty document will synchronize with the server, and it will those data will send to the server. So this is the features of offline storage, JSON store. And next thing is monitoring the application. So here you can see that lots of tab. You can see here management, authenticity, security, configuration file, all those things are there. Basically these things you will monitor and for monitoring and management of your application. Okay, so here you will see that direct update. You can see this option, direct update, right? And you can see that if you have disabled the application for a particular region, as I told you, suppose mobile device has been lost or stolen or anything happen, you can disable the application or enable the application or anything. So here you will see that application is in active mode, active status. It means application from any device, it can communicate with the mobile first server. Okay, and access is disabled. So all the status you can see here. Another option you can see a direct update. So here you can upload the web resources, whatever you have updated. This will only work with Apache Cordova and web application, not with React Native or any native application, first of all. Okay, so you can upload those web resources directly here, drag and drop, or through command line also you can just upload, so that user can get the direct update. We'll talk about later. So Mobile First Platform Foundation simplifies version management and application compatibility. So IBM Mobile First Platform Foundation can determine whether a newer version of application is available, and if so, can information user about it, or push an application update to the device. So that is called basically direct update, because when you are pushing the direct update, you have to change the the version, minor update version you have to change. Okay, not the final version of application. This is also one thing. If you will talk about the versioning, right? Suppose here you can see that iOS version 1.0. If you will deploy any application again in the App Store, then you have to change the version. it should be something 1.1 or 2.1 or something. Okay, something greater than 1.0. But when you will push for direct update, you don't need to change this version, the application version. Only the web resources version you have to change, and that will not modify the application version. Got it? This is also one thing. And next thing is authentication and security. So in authentication and security, there are lots of things will come in between. You can secure the how people are connecting to the mobile first server in secure way. You can add the security checks. You can secure your adapter. You can secure your push notification. You can secure your JSON store. All those things you can do. You can authenticate everything. So Mobile First Platform Foundation provides secure end-to-end communication by positioning a server that observes the flow of data between mobile application and your backend system. With IBM Mobile First Platform Foundation, you can define custom security handlers for any access to this flow of data, because any access to the data of a mobile application must go through this server instance. You can define data security handlers for mobile application, web application, and backend access. With this granular security, you can define a separate level of authentication for different function and of your application. You can also prevent mobile application from accessing sensitive information. So basically, you can implement authentication security in different way. We'll talk later on that, basically where and how you can do that. Okay. And next thing is operational analytics, that already I have talked multiple times. So you will get a operational console, a separate console basically, where you can monitor in different way. Okay. Where you will basically, this analytics will give you a rich view of mobile information and also the server infrastructure information. Both things you will get. It will also include the reports for user retention, crash report, device type, operating system breakdown, network usage, push notification result, right? Suppose if you have sent a 100 push notification to the 100 device. So what if only 40 device has received the notification, not 60? It's biggest failure of your push notification, right? So anything you can just review there, and in-app behavior, default log collection, and many things you can monitor into the analytical console. So the data will include something like crash event for an application, interaction of any application to server activities, server side log. You can choose the verbosity and data retention policy of reported event. You can set conditional alert and build custom chart. Alert you can just add if something particular things will happen, then give a alert. So multiple types of alert you can give set there. So we'll see that later. So all those things basically you can do with operational analytical console. And this is again the part of application center. We already talked about spoken about the application center. This is how this application center will look like. Okay, so you will open the application center, where you can, here you can see the button add application. You click the app add button, and the page will look like the similar type how you deploy application in Google Play Store. You have to do store listing, right? You do store listing about your application. You give the image, you give the screenshot, you give the descriptions, versions. Here you will get the which platform, because iOS also you will add, Android application also you will add. All application you, this is kind of hybrid Play Store. Okay, because Google Play Store only you will get Android application, not iOS application. Apple App Store you will get only Apple or iPhone application, not Android applications. But this application store will be a hybrid app store. So both applications you will get. So you have to choose. Here you can see that this iOS application. In that way you can choose that this Android application or iOS application or web application or whatever it is. Access control you can give. So it is restricted and restricted up to which level, or is it unrestricted or anyone can install or can see. You can see the give the version and ratings, and also you can see the comments. Once you click on this application, you will see the comments which user is giving the comments, because user will also included within your organization only, not from outside, right? So easily you can see, you can connect with those people, why they have given, what improvement should happen, right? So all those things you can real-time feedback you can see there in application center. So mobile first platform foundation application is an enterprise application